I was fresh out of labor, sweaty, exhausted, and barely functioning when the nurse handed me the paperwork. "Just sign here for the birth certificate," she said cheerfully. My husband Chris hovered at my side, doing that annoying, over-smiling thing he does when he's hiding something. I didn't think much of it. I was riding the high of bringing our daughter into the world. Our daughter, not just mine, ours. We had agreed on the name Lila Rose. Weeks of back and forth, brainstorming over wine and takeout, naming apps, debates over spelling. Lila Rose was perfect, elegant, strong, timeless. Chris even called her Lila when he first held her, tearing up like he was in a Hallmark movie. So I signed, without reading, because of course I trusted my husband. Big mistake. Fast forward to 6 weeks later. The pediatrician's office sends us a reminder card for Lila's 2-month shots, but something's off. I squint at the envelope. To Juniper Ray Thompson. I blink. Who the hell is Juniper Ray? "Chris," I call out, trying not to sound like I'm about to lose it. "Why is our daughter's name Juniper Ray?" Silence. Chris pokes his head into the room, all fake casual. "Oh, that? I made a last-minute change. I figured you'd be cool with it." "You what?" I don't know. Lila didn't feel right to me in the end, and Juniper sounded fresh, quirky. You know, like a strong modern woman. A vein pulsed in my temple. "So, you waited until I was half-conscious, signed something without me knowing, and just changed our daughter's identity?" He had the audacity to laugh. "You're being dramatic. It's just a name." Just a name. The man had erased my voice in the first decision that truly defined our child's life, and he called it just a name. I didn't scream. Not yet. That came later. First, I dug through the baby paperwork folder. Sure enough, the birth certificate read, Juniper Ray Thompson. Chris had forged my signature. And guess what? He hadn't even spelled Juniper right on the first form. Had to correct it later. Sloppy. I confronted him again. "You committed fraud, Chris." He shrugged. "They said only one parent had to sign. I didn't forge anything. I just filled it out. You left it blank." Liar. I had signed something, under the assumption he hadn't altered our agreed name. He kept pushing the narrative. "You'll get used to it. Everyone loves it. My mom says Juniper is unique." Oh, his mother. The same woman who'd suggested the name in the first place. The one who complained Lila sounded too southern. Suddenly everything clicked. This wasn't a last-minute decision. This was planned, behind my back. Probably during one of their little chats while I was waddling around with cankles and a baby karate kicking my bladder. Still, I didn't explode. Not yet. I went quiet, observed, took notes, planted a little seed of doubt. "Maybe you're right," I told him one night. "Maybe I just need to hear it more." He smiled, relieved. Clueless. For weeks, I watched him beam as he introduced our daughter to friends as Juniper. I said nothing. I smiled, nodded, played the part. But I had a plan. See? Names carry weight. Identity. Legacy. And my daughter? She would not carry the result of a secret power play disguised as quirky originality. The irony? The very thing Chris thought would elevate him as a cool, modern dad was about to crush him. Because one morning, a letter arrived. A letter that would flip his smug little world upside down. But we'll get to that. Let's just say, revenge is best served with legal stationery and a little help from Auntie Karma. It was a Tuesday morning. Rain tapping the windows. Chris was in the kitchen humming to himself, feeding the baby like he was Father of the Year. I sipped my coffee slowly, watching him with the kind of smile that said nothing and everything at once. Then the doorbell rang. I opened it to find a mail carrier holding a thick manila envelope. "Signature, please," she said. It was addressed to Juniper Ray Thompson. But the sender? The law office of Blake and Delaney. Chris cocked his head. "What's that?" "Oh, something for Juniper," I said, handing it to him like I had no idea what was inside. I turned away before he could see the corner of my mouth twitch. He opened it, humming at first. Then the room went dead silent. The paper trembled in his hands. What is this?" "Read it out loud," I said sweetly, rocking the baby in my arms. He cleared his throat. "Dear Mr. Thompson, this letter serves to inform you that a formal review has been initiated concerning the unauthorized naming of your daughter, Juniper Ray Thompson, as filed on the official birth certificate. The claim asserts that your actions were fraudulent and bypassed the legal consent of the child's mother." His voice cracked. "Wait, what?" I leaned against the doorframe. "Keep going. It gets better. If the allegations are found to be true, the certificate will be amended to reflect the originally agreed name, and further legal action may be pursued in accordance with state law concerning document falsification." He dropped the letter like it burned. You got a lawyer?" "No," I said calmly. "I got your aunt's lawyer. You know, the one who did all the estate stuff after your grandfather died. She was very interested in the story when I told her about your little stunt. Said it reminded her of your dad, actually." Chris paled. "You told Aunt Melissa?" "She loved the part where you used my recovery as a cover to rewrite our daughter's name like you were rebranding a startup." Chris started pacing. Okay. Maybe I made a mistake. But do we really need lawyers? Can't we just talk this through?" Funny. That's exactly what I said about the name. But apparently my input didn't matter then. Why should yours now? He looked stunned, like it was just now hitting him that actions have consequences. "You're making this a thing." "No, Chris. You made this a thing when you decided your mother's opinion mattered more than mine. When you turned our daughter into your little PR project." He sat down, staring blankly. "I didn't think it would be such a big deal." "Of course you didn't. That's the problem. You didn't think at all." I gave him a moment. Let it sink in. Then I added the final touch. "I've also filed for a formal name change. Lila Rose Thompson. You'll be notified when the court date is set. You're welcome to attend. Or not. Honestly, your presence isn't required this time." That got his attention. "Wait, you can't just change it without me." "Oh, but I can. See, once fraud is proven, and honey, you signed a document using my name, I get full naming rights. And don't worry, I kept all the emails and texts where we agreed on Lila. The court will love that." He looked like he might be sick. "And just in case you're still clinging to hope," I said, lowering my voice, "your mother won't be involved in any future decisions about our child. She's on an indefinite timeout." He looked like a scolded schoolboy. Pathetic. I held the baby closer, whispering into her soft curls. "You're Lila Rose. That's who you've always been." Chris sat in silence, staring at the letter like it had just sentenced him to life without parole. But the best part? That was only the beginning. Because Chris thought the name thing was the hill to die on. He had no idea the storm that was coming next. The court hearing came faster than Chris expected. One minute, he was sulking around the house like a grounded teenager. The next, he was standing in front of a judge, sweating through his button-down. I wore navy. Power color. Lila wore soft pink and slept through the entire hearing like the queen. She is. The judge was a woman. Sharp, no nonsense, and visibly unimpressed when Chris tried to spin the story. "I didn't mean to exclude her, Your Honor. I just thought I was helping, by hijacking our child's name like it was a domain registration." I handed over the printed emails, screenshots of our name discussions, and yes, even the baby journal where we both signed off on Lila Rose 3 weeks before I gave birth. The judge flipped through the stack, her lips thinning. Mr. Thompson, forging a document, or misleading your spouse into believing she was signing one name while filing another, is serious. Consent must be mutual. This isn't a branding exercise. It's a legal identity. Chris fumbled. I just wanted her to have a name that stood out. She already did, I said. Calm. Controlled. Until you replaced it with a name your mother liked better. The judge nodded slowly. Then she issued the order. Birth certificate to be amended to Lila Rose Thompson. Chris stared like someone had cut the power in his brain. Case closed, she said. But mine wasn't. Because here's the thing. Chris didn't just steal a name. He exposed something much bigger, a need for control, a belief that he could manipulate the narrative of our lives without consequences, that I would always roll over and clean up the mess. So I decided to teach him a little lesson in consequences. And it began with a beautifully wrapped gift box I handed him a week after the court date. Inside was a framed photo of Lila, beaming, in a tiny onesie that read, "My name is Lila. Ask my mom." Next to it, a letter. No return address, just a typed message. Dear Mr. Thompson, congratulations on the successful amendment of your daughter's birth certificate. As per the terms of your prior behavior, your access to family decision-making privileges has been temporarily suspended. Future. Decisions regarding Lila's education, medical care, and exposure to toxic grandparents will be made by her mother, whose judgment has proven to be significantly more sound. We encourage you to reflect on the importance of consent, communication, and not acting like a narcissistic toddler with a God complex. Best of luck rebuilding trust. Sincerely, the woman you underestimated. He stormed into the nursery, letter in hand. Did you send this? I looked up from the changing table. Well, I didn't type it, but I may have dictated. He glared. You're enjoying this? Oh no, I said, smiling sweetly. I'm surviving this. Big difference. He stood there, mouth opening and closing like a fish, no comeback in sight. Finally, he mumbled something about going for a walk and shuffled out the door. I looked down at Lila, now wide awake and smirking like she knew exactly what just happened. That, sweetheart, I whispered, is called poetic justice. Since then, things have changed. Chris is allowed supervised input, emphasis on supervised, on things like bottle brand and lullaby playlists. Anything bigger? I handle it. He's been walking on eggshells, suddenly interested in parenting books and co-parenting seminars. It's cute. A little late. But cute. As for his mother, well, she's not speaking to either of us. Something about humiliation and being shut out. Which honestly feels like a win. Lila's name is now official. Her life, her story, is hers again. And mine, stronger than ever. I learned something from all this. If someone tries to silence your voice, you make sure they hear it louder. Sharper. Legally notarized, if needed. Chris thought he could rewrite the beginning of Lila's story, but I made damn sure I wrote the ending, and it was one hell of a signature move.